Alright, what's up guys? As a little bit of a celebration for basically hitting 1,000 followers, I want to make a review of the trade I took this morning and why I took it. So to start off real quick, I'm on GU, the 4-hour chart, and you can see we kind of had this stealing range right here, took out the low, and we had these poor highs left, if that makes sense. So we were bullish, looking for buy side liquidity to be taken. And just knew that the price action was going to be bullish in general. So once we knew that, we mark out our liquidity, mark out our imbalances. So all we really had was this liquidity down here that, looked like a pretty easy target, a bunch of equal lows, and we had some trendline liquidity on the side, but that did fill a 1-hour gap, so we're not too focused on it, as it could be used as liquidity later on after the target is hit. So after that, usually I put on my sessions indicator, look at the Asia range so I know exactly what I'm dealing with, and you can mark it out too if you want. Usually I do that just so it's not too crowded on the chart. And once you have that, then you have your range you're dealing within, looking for some good sweeps and entries. So target would be this buy side up here, and we are looking for London, which starts at 2 o'clock Eastern, right about there. So alright, so zoom in on the 5. So strong downside reaction. Looking, we have a 5-minute fair value gap so far. Push lower and eventually get that sweep. So first, what caught my attention was obviously we had this POI, which is liquidity Asia low, and we also had a pretty clean candle close. You can see right there, it closed above. It wicked down but closed above. So we'll look for the next candle. So next candle, same thing. So we took more liquidity down, out, and then strong reaction to the upside. So now we're going to drop down the 1 minute and see what we can see. So we can see right here we have some relatively equal highs, which is a good sign of an area for some liquidity to be taken, some rocket ship fuel. And we have our structure being broken right here. So structure being broken, we're going to look to see if there's any displacement, which we got on the 1 minute. I'm going to highlight that out for us. So we have our 1 minute fair value gap with some relatively equal highs. Let's see what happens. So we're going to be looking to long here off the equal, usually is what I go off. So the midpoint of that fair value gap that was created, a couple pips below that low, and we're going to target this Asia high for about a 3.8. This morning the trade I took was a 3.7 R. So let's see what happens. So you can see right here, it left another equal high basically, and then I started having a strong reaction to the downside. So let's see. So we get into this fair value gap range, fill it pretty well, and start wicking very quickly to the upside. And I'm just gonna let that play out. And there we go. So we had Asia high, and then if you wanted to go for a longer target, personally I didn't think it would get here on a Monday, but that was the case. We actually ended up consolidating and then running up to that buy side liquidity that we saw on the hour chart. So hope this was helpful. So basically, to recap, I waited for the London session, marked out my Asia high and low, Had my high time frame bias, which was bullish, looking for this buy side liquidity right here. So I knew price action would probably be leaning bullish. London opened, left this Asia high, swept the Asia low, and some external liquidity with, outside of it. Strong reaction to the upside, create a fair value gap on the 1 minute with some equal highs as well. Usually these are breadcrumbs, when you see equal highs like this, usually these are breadcrumbs that, that this is going to be a bullish movement upward. Whereas, maybe if it just swept that, filled this fair value gap that we saw on the 5 minute, could be a sign that maybe it wanted to push lower and start taking out that trend line liquidity. But because we had those equal highs, because we had that strong reaction, because we had these 5 minute candle closures, these are all hints that help you kind of form your bias on how you think the trade will set up. So that was about a 3.7R for me this morning, or if you really, were ballsy and held it all the way, that would have been a 10R up to that, external target. So hope this was helpful. Thank you again for 1,000 followers. I never thought that I would really even be in that category of people following me and listening to me. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope I'm able to give some valuable insight and help people trade as much as they've helped me along the way. So with that being said, have a good rest of your day. Keep on trading.